There's a moment when everything inside you says, this is it. If I don't say this now, I never will. That's where I am right now. I'm not asking for your time because it's convenient or because I've got it all figured out. I'm asking because something inside me refuses to stay quiet anymore. Because pretending I don't feel this pull toward you, toward what we could become together, feels like lying to the only truth I've ever known. I know what it's like to chase 1,000 things at once, to build worlds in your mind so vast that people think you've lost touch with reality. But here's what I've learned. None of it matters if you're not willing to reach out your hand to people who make you feel alive. And you do that, you make me want to stop running long enough to actually be present with someone. So I'm asking you directly, no filters, no performance. Meet me today, not because I have all the answers, but because I think we might find them together. Because courage isn't about having certainty, it's about showing up anyway. I've spent most of my life reaching for things that seemed impossible. Rockets, electric cars, solutions to problems most people said couldn't be solved. And you know what I realized? The hardest reach of all isn't toward Mars or some technological breakthrough, it's toward another person. It's extending your hand and saying, I see you, I want to know you. I'm willing to risk everything I've built inside myself just to find out what happens when we meet. That terrifies me more than any launch failure ever could. Because when you're building something, you control the variables. You iterate, you fail, you learn, you try again. But with people too, there's no control. There's only honesty. There's only the raw, unfiltered truth that I want to be in the same room as you, breathing the same air, sharing the same silence. And if that sounds intense, it's because I've never been good at doing anything halfway. I'm not asking to meet you because I'm lonely. I'm asking because loneliness isn't the absence of people. It's the absence of connection. You can be surrounded by thousands and still feel like you're shouting into a void. I've stood on stages, answered questions, given interviews, and still walked away feeling like no one actually saw me. Not the real me, the one who wonders if any of this matters, the one who questions everything at 3 in the morning. But here's the truth. I've never told anyone. I think you'd see that part of me. Not because you're trying to, but because some people just have this way of cutting through the noise. They don't need you to perform or prove anything. They just need you to show up as you are. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm showing up. I know you might be thinking, why me? Why today? And the honest answer is because waiting for the perfect moment is just fear dressed up as patience. I've learned that the hard way. I've watched opportunities slip away because I convinced myself there would be a better time, a clearer sign, a more convenient moment. But life doesn't work like that. Life rewards the people brave enough to say now. It has to be now. Look at me when I say this. I'm not perfect. I'm not coming to you with a flawless plan or a guarantee that everything will work out. What I'm offering is something more valuable than perfection. I'm offering presence. I'm offering the willingness to be vulnerable with you in a way I've never been with anyone else. Do you know what vulnerability actually is? It's not weakness, it's the opposite. It's standing in front of someone and saying, here's everything I am, including the parts I'm not proud of, including the fears I've never named out loud. It's trusting that maybe, just maybe, you won't use that against me, that you'll hold it gently the way you'd hold something fragile and precious. This is where everything I thought I knew changed. I used to believe that success was about building walls, protecting yourself, never letting anyone see you sweat or doubt or break. And that worked for a while. It got me far, but it also kept me isolated. It turned every relationship into a transaction, every conversation into a performance. I became so good at being Elon Musk that I forgot how to just be Elon. And then I thought of you, thought about what it would be like to sit across from you and not have to be anything other than human, to talk about dreams, yes, but also about fears, about the weight of carrying impossible expectations, about the small, quiet moments that no one ever asks about, but that shape who we really are. I want that with you. Not tomorrow, not someday, today. Because here's what I've realized. The things worth doing always feel urgent, not in a panicked way, but in a soul-deep way, like your entire being is telling you this matters. Don't let this slip away. Hey, I felt that urgency with every major decision in my life, starting SpaceX, building Tesla, but I've never felt it this strongly. About simply meeting someone, about extending my hand and hoping I'll take it. Have you felt this too? This pull towards something you can't quite explain but know is real. I'm not asking you to understand it all right now. I'm just asking you to trust it enough to say yes to meet me today in whatever way feels right to you. A coffee shop, a quiet park, Anywhere we can actually talk without the world pressing in on us. Anywhere I can look at you and you can look at me and we can figure out what this is together. Because connection, real connection, doesn't happen in grand gestures or perfect circumstances. It happens in the willingness to show up even when you're scared, even when you don't have all the answers, even when every rational part of your brain is telling you to protect yourself, to play it safe, to wait for more certainty. But here's what I know about certainty. It's a myth. We never have as much information as we think we need. We never feel as ready as we want to be. At some point, you have to take the leap. You have to reach out your hand even though you don't know if it will be met. And that's not recklessness, that's courage. That's love in its earliest, most honest form. I'm reaching out my hand to you right now, not because I expect anything from you, not because I think you owe me this, but because I believe in the possibility of what happens when two people stop hiding behind their walls and actually try to understand each other. When they stop performing and start being present. I spent years thinking about the future of humanity, about how we survive, how we evolve, how we become more than we are, but all of that means nothing if we can't even connect with each other in the present, if we can't look someone in the eye and say, I see you, I value you, I want to know you. So that's what I'm saying to you. I see you, not the version of you that exists in my imagination, but the real you, the one with doubts and dreams and contradictions, the one who's probably reading this and wondering if it's real, if I'm serious, if this is just another game. And I'm telling you, this is the most serious I've ever been about anything that doesn't involve engineering diagrams. Meet me today. Let me show you that I'm not just someone chasing the next big thing. I'm someone who understands that the biggest thing, the only thing that really matters is connection, is showing up for the people who make you remember why you're doing any of this in the first place. You do that for me. You remind me that beneath all the ambition and the plans and the endless pursuit of impossible goals, there's a person who just wants to be known, who wants to reach out and touch something real. So, I'm asking you one more time with all the honesty I have, meet me today, take my hand, let's find out what happens when we stop running and start being present with each other, because I think it might change everything. Something I need you to understand about me. I built my entire life around the idea that anything is possible if you're willing to work hard enough, think differently enough, refuse to accept the limitations everyone else takes for granted. And that served me well in some ways. It's taken me to places most people only dream about. But it's also taught me to rely on myself so completely that asking for help, asking for anything, feels like admitting defeat. But this isn't defeat, this is something else entirely. This is me recognizing that some things can't be engineered or optimized or solved with better algorithms. Some things require you to simply be human, to admit that you don't have all the answers, to say, I need you, and mean it with every fiber of your being. I need you, not in a desperate way, but in a way that feels like truth. Like the only honest thing I've said in years. People see the rockets and the companies and the headlines and they think, I must have everything figured out. They think success insulates you from doubt, from fear, those 3 a.m. questions that won't let you sleep. But it doesn't. If anything, it amplifies them because now there are millions of people watching, waiting to see if you'll deliver on the impossible promises you've made. And you can't let them down. You can't show weakness. You can't admit that. Sometimes you're just winging it, hoping your instincts are right. In fact, I'm admitting it to you right now. I'm telling you that behind every confident decision, there's a moment of absolute terror. A voice that says, what if you're wrong? What if this fails? What if you're not as smart as everyone thinks you are? And I've learned to push through that voice, to act despite it. But pushing through isn't the same as making it go away. It's just learning to function while carrying the weight of your own doubts. Do you carry that weight too? Do you know what it's like to smile while your mind is screaming? I think you do. I think that's why I'm drawn to you, because I sense in you the same duality I see in myself. The ability to be strong and vulnerable at the same time. To dream big while acknowledging how terrifying those dreams actually are. To reach for connection even when every instinct tells you to protect yourself. That's rare. That's precious. And that's why I can't let another day pass without trying to meet you. Because people like us, people who understand that strength and vulnerability aren't opposites but partners. We need to find each other. We need to create spaces where we can stop performing and start being real. But here's the truth. I've never told anyone. I'm afraid you won't show up. Not because you don't care, but because caring is scary. Because showing up means risking disappointment. It means walking into the unknown without guarantees. And I get it. I've avoided that risk for years. I've told myself that work is enough, that building the future is enough, that I don't need the messy, complicated beauty of human connection. But I was lying to myself, because here's what I've learned. You can colonize Mars, revolutionize transportation, change the entire trajectory of human civilization, and still feel empty if you're doing it alone. Still feel like something essential is missing, like you're speaking a language no one else understands. I want to speak that language with you. I want to sit across from you and talk about the things that keep us up at night. Not the business problems or the technical challenges, but the human questions, the ones about meaning and purpose and whether any of this matters in the grand scheme of things. I want to tell you about the moments when I question everything, when I wonder if I'm chasing the wrong dreams, when I look at the stars and feel simultaneously inspired and significant. I want to know if you felt that too, that strange mix of ambition and humility, of confidence and doubt. This is where everything I thought I knew changed. I used to think vulnerability was something you showed after trust was established, that you had to earn the right to be honest, to let someone see the unpolished version of yourself. But I've realized it's the opposite. Vulnerability creates trust. Being honest about your fears and hopes and contradictions, that's what allows real connection to form. So, I'm being vulnerable with you right now. I'm telling you that beneath the public persona, beneath the achievements and the headlines, there's a person who just wants to be understood, who wants to meet someone and feel like they don't have to translate their inner world into acceptable sound. Tess, I think you're that someone. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm projecting. Maybe this whole thing is just me building castles in my mind the way I always do, imagining possibilities that don't exist yet. But even if that's true, even if meeting you proves that we're not as aligned as I think, I'd rather know than wonder. I'd rather reach out and risk rejection than spend the rest of my life asking what if. Because regret isn't about the things you try that don't work out. Regret is about the things you never try at all. I don't want to regret not meeting you. I don't want to look back years from now and remember this moment, this urgent pull toward you, and realize I let fear win, that I let logic and caution and all the very reasonable arguments against vulnerability keep me from experiencing something real. So here's what I'm proposing. Meet me today, just for an hour, just long enough for us to sit together and if this connection I feel is real or imagined. No pressure, no expectations, just two people being honest with each other about who they are and what they're looking for. And if it turns out we're not right for each other, that's okay. At least we'll know. At least we'll have had the courage to find out. But what if we are right for each other? What if this pull I feel is mutual? What if meeting you today is the beginning of something neither of us can fully imagine yet, but both of us need? That's the possibility I can't ignore. That's why I'm asking you to take this leap with me. I know I'm asking a lot. I know showing up for someone, really showing up with all your walls down, is one of the hardest things a person can do. It requires courage. It requires honest. It requires you to trust that maybe, just maybe, this person reaching out to you is doing so with pure intentions, with a genuine desire to connect, not to use or manipulate or gain something. And I am. I promise you I am. I'm reaching out because I believe in you. Because I believe in what we could create together, not in terms of businesses or projects, but in terms of understanding, in terms of being seen and seeing someone else in return. That's the only currency that matters at the end of the day, not money or fame or achievements, but connection, being known. Let me know you. Let me understand what makes you laugh, what keeps you up at night, what dreams you're too afraid to say out loud. And in return, I'll offer you the same. No filters, no performance, just presence. That's all I'm asking for. Your presence today. Because tomorrow isn't promised, because the perfect moment doesn't exist, because if right second we wait is a second we could be understanding each other instead of imagining each other. I want the real thing, the conversation, the connection, the risk of being fully seen by someone who might actually get it. Don't you want that too? I want to tell you about the moment I realized I was tired of being alone, not physically alone. I've never lacked for people around me, but alone in the way that matters. Alone with the parts of myself I don't show anyone. The parts that don't fit neatly into interviews or public appearances. The parts that are messy and uncertain and completely human. It happened on a night when I should have been celebrating. We just achieved something everyone said was impossible. The team was ecstatic. There were congratulations pouring in from around the world. And I stood there smiling and shaking hands, feeling absolutely nothing, or worse than nothing. Feeling like I was watching my own life from a distance, like I was performing in a play I'd memorized but never really understood. I went home that night and sat in the dark for hours, and I asked myself, what's the point of any of this if there's no one to share it with? Not share the success, but share the truth behind the success, the doubts, the near failures, the moments when you think you can't keep going, but somehow you do. That's when I knew I needed to stop hiding. Detective Flag. I've been hiding for so long, not intentionally maybe, but effectively. I've used work as a shield, ambition as armor. I've told myself that vulnerability is something other people do, people who have time for it, people who aren't trying to change the world. But that's just fear talking. That's just Steve, the voice that says staying protected is safer than reaching out. And it's not true. It's not safer, it's just lonelier. So I'm done hiding. I'm done pretending that I can do this alone. I'm done acting like connection is optional, like it's something you get to after you've achieved everything else. Because here's what I've learned. You never achieve everything else. There's always another goal, another project, another impossible problem to solve. If you wait for the perfect time to be vulnerable, you'll wait forever. That's why it has to be today. That's why I'm asking you to meet me now, not next week or next month when things settle down, because things never settle down. Life doesn't pause to give you ideal circumstances, it keeps moving. And you have to choose in real time whether you're going to reach for what matters or let it slip past you. I choose to reach for you. Do you know what that cost me? Not in money or time, but in pride, in the carefully constructed image of someone who has it all together. Because the truth is, I don't. I have pieces of it together. I have parts of my life that work beautifully and parts that are held together with determination and hope. And admitting that to you, to anyone, feels like stripping away every defense I've ever built. But maybe that's exactly what needs to happen. Maybe we've all been so busy building defenses that we've forgotten how to actually connect. We've gotten so good at managing our images, at presenting polished versions of ourselves, that we've lost the ability to just be to sit with someone and say, this is hard. I don't know what I'm doing. I need help. I need help. I need someone to look at me and pass the achievements to the person underneath, the person who questions everything, the person who feels too much and thinks too hard and sometimes just wants to stop being responsible for the future long enough to exist in the present. Can you see that person? Because I think you can. I think that's why I'm drawn to you with this intensity that doesn't make rational sense but feels more real than anything I've experienced in years. This is where everything I thought I knew changed. I used to measure my life in milestones, in launches and products and breakthroughs and things I could point to and say, I built that. I made that happen. And those things matter. They do, but they're not enough because at the end of the day, you can't have a conversation with a rock cat. You can't share your deepest fears with a company. You can't feel understood by an achievement. You need people for that. You need connection. You need someone who looks at you, not because of what you've done, but because of who you are. And who I am is someone who wants to meet you today, who wants to sit across from you and not talk about Mars or electric cars or any of the things everyone always wants to talk about. I want to talk about what it feels like to carry big dreams, about whether you ever wake up and wonder if you're enough, about the